I like how, these misogynist men come up on here and they're just like, oh, we're going to blame women. We should totally sympathize with the dad because they lost a child. I'm like, from my understanding of the story yesterday, before people outed names before they should have ever, I was looking through their stuff, and the minute I saw the dad's page, I was like, oh my God, yeah. It was just, I mean, it's in your face. It was everything from like Gen X to, it's right on the cusp of Gen X millennials from our time to like, some people a little younger than us. And it's basically the same kind of area. And a lot of drinking, a lot of shooting, a lot of sports, the whole, thing. And this daughter, I guess, is living with just her dad. So I was looking at that, and we know the problem is men. Okay, so the problem is men, but they don't want to take accountability for this. So they want to have a culture of being a total F up and promoting this like gun violence, not being emotionally connected with their children. It almost looks like he's living vicariously through the daughter, because they were having a conversation, which was basically the last post. So if you guys saw that, I don't know if it's still there, but it was there yesterday. If you go to the page, there's just like this picture. I guess it's of her shooting. And they were, bragging about how when they were younger, they went to some sports club thing, which I pulled up. It's a sportsman's lodge type of thing or something. They shoot things. And they were like, oh yeah, from my childhood, la la la. And all the guys are like totally bullies in school and terrible monsters, or like everything bad in the culture. But now sure, they didn't go shoot up a school, but it's like he's living through the daughter to do things that he loves. And I don't know if it's a thing where somebody else said that she went to a different high school or a different school, and then they put her into this Christian school. And I was like, I wonder if it was a like a punishment type thing. Like, does she even want to be there? Because that's another thing they were doing to kids, right? When they threw them into those like military type schools, those other things, because they figure, oh, we could straight them out. Like, I don't know if that's in the picture, but it was there. Somebody said that. I can't confirm that they transferred the school. But in an earlier post, it was saying he made her join up some Christian Lutheran. Now, I come from the Lutheran church thing, but it was some other thing. And I'm like, I don't know if she even wants to be a part of this. Because I was seeing, like, she was showing her music taste, and I go, yeah, I mean, it's I mean, it could fit me being like that as a kid, but I don't know. I think most kids were not like me. So, yeah, I don't know. It was in question, because that's always in some of these. I mean, this is in a lot of these cases when they're profiling with the overly religious parent. But the dad doesn't even look like what you would think at a church. And I'm just like, okay, all right. It was so left field, because I'm expecting a whole different look of this family. And then, yeah, so then his guy friends were like, is that the kiddo, man? Yeah, and that's like literally the last picture they post. And it's like the largest picture on the page is just shooting. I'm like, okay, we have a problem there. Now you have to go backwards. It wouldn't be from that time period. So as you're going backwards, you see mom's not there because she's asking about an injury she had. And, from us on the outside, we don't know why the kid's injured. That could be something else in the story. It's just something to look at. I don't know. It could have been a legitimate injury from something else, but it could be an injury from over here. We don't know. But the mom's asking, or I think that's the mom, and she's asking, somebody from the family, somebody with the same name thing is asking. And so it seems that she's not present. I don't know why mommy's not present. That's not good when mommy's not present. So I don't know what the situation is there. If she has other issues and she can't take care of the kid. You go back, and then I start noticing in all these pictures, there's a lot of drinking. I was like, there's a lot of drinking. Then they get a jog. But if you look at the background, there's a beer. It's just this random beer. And then you go look at the dog's name. This other dog, the name is whiskey. I'm like, yeah, okay, so we got drinking parents. We got this say questionable religious thing here. Then we have the daddy shooting and getting his little daughter to shoot. They did get her into karate. Now these are things that I'm like, I don't know if she even wanted to do these things. These are another questions, Like you could look at that, think it's just a normal thing going on. But some people may be making their kids do things that they really don't want to do, and we've seen this quite a bit. That can make a kid very miserable. I'm just saying, these are just additions, some things to look at. And then he's not paying attention. So there's a element of neglect here because he doesn't know his daughter is totally depressed. Okay, so even the psychopath has an element of depression, I suppose, because the girl allegedly is kind of looking at Columbine. And we went through that case. They kind of misdiagnosed the one guy with just depression or some crap, and he was a psychopath. But we don't, we're going through like the whole thing on that, okay? Because there's a lot of debates and a lot of things that they're looking at, different opinions, different terms, different everything on that. Regardless of what everybody wants to call it or what, this, that, the other, people are not identifying it. And it's nothing to really sympathize about, but you should have came into the story to protect that kid. Because at the earliest point, like, it's developing. So nobody woke up at 15 and said, you know what, I'm going to do this. What we've been saying and what it says, even on the public things on that stuff could show up very early. And I was saying that in some of these kids, like the one I seen, by age 9, they were already showing problems. And I was like, yeah, that's not good. And by the age of 15, that's already too late. Like the thing has already spiraled out and now you're seeing it. Like you don't want to see it. And it's just one of those things that daddy's just so like, dad needs to be fixed too. Like he needs to be in therapy, some shit, you know what I mean? So for him to overlook it, that's what I think was going on, is that the parent is a cluster F and they are creating that. Yeah, I actually heard this over here. So, no, it would not be the kid's fault. I don't know what the hell these people are doing with these kids. Like, they're like, oh, it's their fault. They made the choice to do it. I go, yeah, but they're ill. They're ill, and it's not their fault at the intro. Dad's promoting something, and this kid is identifying with psychopaths. And you should be concerned about that. And why would they be, doing that to begin with? And then we have the public sitting here glorifying a shooter, and sure enough, right after that, this happens. It's just sort of the enabling to the whole thing and men and their shooting thing. But when you're reading the comments, it's like men totally know they are the problem. Because what do they keep saying? Oh, that girl must have testosterone in them. I go, oh, so you associate this contact with men, right? Exactly. Like they're stupid. They are stupid. So yes, they associate the contact with men, and then they were like, it has to be a transgender. I go, no, it's not a transgender. And even if it was a transgender or a female, it's still men's fault. They do not get that. Because they're trying to identify with the sociopath, psychopath male that is doing this conduct, because that's who they're pulling from. And then now we have a home life where it's just a man raising a daughter, and he's trying to turn her into a man. But if he's trying to turn her into a man, like the conduct or doing things equally that men do, we'll say it like that, the conduct there is mentally ill. And that's what we're saying. We're saying society has a lot of mental health issues, but it's men. And so that's why that would happen. But they're saying it. Like, the men are saying it, but, like, they don't get it or something. It's like, and so I was like, looking at that, I go, that's interesting. I'm surprised. I was saying originally how I even came to that early on, because they go, I was looking at it and I go, well, women are the most abused in society, technically. And you should think that, I would think that they would be the number one going out shooting up the place. Like, just if you lay it out, if it's based on just abuse, in that thing. But they weren't. And you're seeing these men doing it, and it's a little complicated to explain, but it's them being socios and I don't feel empowered and I want attention and man, there's a lot in that. But they also teach men to be violent. Like, this is socially acceptable to be a violent piece of shit. And we should just ignore that. And they should be a total pathological liar. We should accept that. But for women, if you join up over here, we're going to have a problem. Yeah, it's that. And so basically, they don't really promote girls to be physically violent like that in most homes. But in this home, it's there. And then therefore, that combination soup of what's going on over there is going to happen. And so I was like, yeah, you guys should be really worried about that, because that is kind of a missing component with the female portion, because they don't raise them to be violent pieces of shit the way they do men and put that as acceptable in society, right? So you'll see a much more predominant group of them doing it. And then mostly white guys doing it. But as you see, it's white daddy. And it's like, what the hell is this? But yeah. So I go, we don't want to see that. I'm disturbed that happened. But it's totally the household where if it was going to happen, it's going to happen. Yeah. Because you got daddy. So it's men's problem. So that's his daughter. And he's the one that was raising her. And he's the one that did not take care of those health issues of hers, because he probably is a hot mess. I mean, I don't know my dad would never do this. Oh, we're going to go out, teacher, shoot up the place. And all the guy friends are all, yeah. I'm like, oh God. And then it's like, then there's other issues going on, obviously. And it's just like, oh, we're going to ignore that. We don't care about your feelings. I was like, yeah, that's the problem, right? We don't care about your feelings. Fuck your feelings. Aren't you saying that out here? So that's a socio. Yeah. I was like, yeah. It's like they're like screaming it out loud. Like, I need a doctor. I'm like, yeah, you sure as hell do. And that's why they drink a lot. That chronic pain. Hey, we got some chronic pain too, man, but that ain't going on like that. So, yeah, so the whole thing with that. So that's what I picked up in that case. And dad, I don't know, there may be some other weird things with the dad, because I saw some other stuff and I was like, I can't answer what he do in his private life, but I don't know if we should be concerned about that, or if that was just, I don't know, bullshit. I can't tell you guys. We're going to get more of the stories that comes in, but these men will not take accountability for the mental health issues that they cause on everybody on this planet. For God's sakes. And women are not the ones doing it. That's what I'm saying. I go, even in this case, it's still men's fault. It's still men's fault. That's the parent. That you're the one that needs to not neglect your kids and enable this kind of crap, dude. It is crazy. It's really weird. Oh, and then she picked a Monday. So she obviously, is very aware of the Monday shooter story. And and I guess she looked at the Columbine thing or something like that, because they're pulling out the band that they were talking about, which I didn't actually know that band was related to the Columbine thing, and I think I just heard them like last year. This is the odd thing about it. And I go, oh, they're actually pretty good. I was like, yeah, they're pretty good. I didn't go shoot up a place, so I don't know. They were trying to be to correlate the band to them doing that. They're like, they have really dark lyrics. I go, but could you even hear the lyrics? I mean, when I was listening to the music, it's pretty industrial. It's like my speed of stuff. So I was like, yeah, I don't know. I was like, all the other people are listening to him. They didn't do that. It's the only thing that it could indicate is that they're already depressed. And it's like enabling the depression they're already in. Because when you're like really depressed, like everybody gets depressed, like everybody. So then all of a sudden you like anything you hear, and then anything that would like aid into it, like it's not really a positive message, that it just continues that. So it could just be the addition in it, but it's not something that said go shoot up the place. And so I'm not really sure, but definitely not that music. It was so funny. I was like, oh, I never heard these people. They're really cool. And they're like, it's from Columbine. Those guys listen to. I go, oh, really? Yeah, it's funny. I was like, I thought they were listening to Marilyn. I guess they probably were listening to all of them. I was like, yeah, Maryland's pretty fucking dark and fucked up, man. I was like, yeah, so somebody that's already, it's a thing like this. Somebody that's already a hot mess, may be more prone to be drawn to somebody like that because they relate. And Maryland's probably going to go to prison. I mean, I don't know, but they relate to what he's saying. It's like, Maryland can't make me go do those evil things, okay? He can't. Unless I was a child and he groomed me, okay? But like, I'm not going to go listen to him. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be that pile of shit that he's being with other people. It's not going to happen. And why am I getting... All right, let's see what happened here. So, on the story, I got a little interrupted by somebody. The pre-Christmas buzz and serene sense of safety for the Abundant Life Christian School were shattered Monday when a student pulled out a gun and opened fire, killing 2 people, wounding 6 others, and prompting a second grader to call 911. I didn't even know to call 911 as a second grader, but we didn't have a phone, so... But I wouldn't even... At our home phone, I wouldn't even have known to do that. Our parents didn't teach us any of that. Now investigators are digging into how and why the 15-year-old shooter identified as Natalie Repnow got the gun used to unleash terror at her Wisconsin private school, traumatizing some 420 students from kindergarten to 12th grade. A school that has 12th graders with kindergartners is frightening as is, mostly when some of these older ones turn 18. But even the older seniors have always been terrorists to everybody younger. So Madison police are investigating whether the teen shooter's parents owned the gun. I think didn't they give her... Okay, so she had another gun. Yeah, we know the dad did. We also want to look as if the parents may have been negligent. Of course they were. What stupid is this? And that's a question that we'll have to answer with our DA's office. But at this time, it does not appear to be the case. Are you kidding me? I cannot deal with this level of stupid. Stupid. I feel that they're trying to be sympathetic because somebody went to a Christian school. Any kid that does this, they are being negligent, mostly to their kids' problems. And they were promoting her to shoot up the place. I mean, that's just crazy. And daddy was drinking. You're going to tell me that there's no issues in this story. A kid just woke up and randomly did that. They want everybody to believe this kind of garbage. That's absolutely not going on. Madison police are... Yeah, because you know what? Guess who's all up in here? Law enforcement. The ones running around with guns shooting up the place. That seems pretty normal, doesn't it? That's the problem with society. That needs to be cleared out. Madison police are also working with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives to find the origin of the gun. We have asked our partners with the ATF to expedite what's called the ATF Trace Forum to try to determine the origin of that weapon, who purchased it, and how it got from a manufacturer all the way to the hands of a 15-year-old girl. These are questions that are going to take some time to answer. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I guess she ended up with a gun that they're saying they have no idea how they got. I don't know. The motive might also take time to determine. The shooter, who also went by the name of Samantha, died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. I mean, she really didn't want to be around anybody, right? If somebody did that, that home life is really bad. Investigators are looking into the online post and possible manifesto that might be linked to the shooter. We have been made aware of the manifesto. If you want to call it that, or some type of letter that's been posted by someone who alleged to be her friend, we haven't been able to locate that person yet, but that's something we're going to work on today. We'll also be looking through her effects, if she had a computer or cell phone, to see if there are any transmissions between her and someone else. The tragedy marks the 83rd school shooting across the U.S. this year, surpassing 2023 for the most school shootings in a single year. Yeah, well, we shouldn't just be focused on school shooting, but also like a CEO shooting, which is still the same mindset of people here. Madison police will host a news conference at 1 p.m. today, I guess, to the public on the investigation. I don't think they'll be okay for a long time. Oh, and then don't you guys love it? Government continually bombs up the place. Like when they did the search here, people were even talking, like the neighbors are like, they came up and just totally these explosions and we went hiding in the basement. And I go, yeah, see, we got totally bombed by government up in here at another place. They don't even care. I'm like, is this actually really necessary? Is it really necessary? To this extent? I don't believe so. A kid went to shoot up the school and they go to the house to go, I don't know, they want to go do all these search warrants, but is it really necessary for this whole explosion all down the streets and everything? I mean, what the hell? I don't know, but this is what they've done. And that's, you could get injured just from that thing that they do. Police searched the suspect's home and were seeking additional search warrants. And then we have no reason to believe they have committed a crime at this time. It's like, whatever, dude. But in recent years, some law enforcement agencies have charged the parents of children who open fire at their school. They should be charging every parent who open fires at their school. Because at that point, these parents are going to pay a lot more attention to their goddamn kids. The father, and they wouldn't come out like that. I don't know what bullshit they're trying to ply off to the public that these kids are just born that way and they're just losing their minds and doing that on their own. They are not. They are absolutely not. I seen it here. I heard the whole freaking thing. And I was like, I cannot believe that CPS will not remove these kids. And they knew about it. And I'm just like, I'm not getting involved in this case because at the point of the kids' problems are already on their way to perma-fucked. And there was a lot of flags at the beginning, such as like, try to murder some birds and shit. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, and it's something like the adults didn't see, but I was out there and I happened to run across it, and so did some other people. And we're like, wow, if you didn't see that, you wouldn't know that they started off killing animals at age 9 and younger. Well, they were getting some other people. So I went to tell their mom, and then it got worse from there, okay? It got worse from there. It got worse from there. It's still worse. It's like I can't get them out of my life. Both federal and Wisconsin laws generally make it illegal for someone under 18 to possess a firearm. Actually, I'm surprised about that. I thought they allowed them. According to state law, it's also illegal for any person to intentionally sell, loan, or give a dangerous weapon to someone under 18. Okay, so here's the thing with Wisconsin. It was so strange. Even with the drinking thing, I was like, what the hell? They're like, it's illegal for all this, except if your parents do this thing for you and give you some drinks and some other shit, then it's okay. But Wisconsin state law has exceptions that allow a minor to possess a firearm for target practice under adult supervision. For use in... Okay, but why... Okay, can you explain this to me? If that's all illegal, why would you have them do target practice? And for use in armed forces... Okay, so now we're talking about children in the Army. We shouldn't have children in the Army. Or for hunting. And again, there's an issue with this hunting thing when we're talking about the signs of psychopaths and things like that, killing animals. There's a confusion there, right? We saw that in the Robert Fisher case. I think it was him that was like killing animals, and then he was totally enjoying it and like rolling in the blood or something. Somebody did that, one of these cases. And I was like, yeah, you have a hard time just, distinguishing that. And you would. And the time that you need to care about it is when they're kids. So I would say maybe the issue is in that little thing right there. And when they're adults, maybe that's when you should deal with that. But yeah, there's a lot of problems like in this area right here. Like children and armed forces shouldn't be happening. Do we need to hunt today? I would say there's a very rare exception, unless they're living out in the outskirts of Yeehaw. In addition, Wisconsin has a child access firearm law that makes it legal to recklessly store, I like how they put this, makes it recklessly store a loaded firearm within reach or access of a child under 14. Okay, so the kid has to be under 14, then it becomes reckless, but at 14 and above, it's okay to recklessly store a loaded firearm. Is that what that means? I told you Wisconsin's on drugs, dude. Like, did you bring up the drinking laws? Because what the hell? You could give your kids drinks or something. Like, there was some weird thing because some parent over there did this to a kid and I couldn't even bust them. Yeah, and they were so bad, you guys. And I was like, I can't do anything. I give up. Like, the child protection laws are not. Regardless of how a Madison school shooter obtained a gun, no child should have such access. I do not believe that 15-year-olds should have access to weapons that they can bring to school and potentially hurt someone. Well, I fully agree with that. I mean, that's just... But this is a thing from Gen X. Okay, so from Gen X's period, because I was pulling out the generations because it matters how we were raised in the environment. Our environment, I could speak for our environment from the Gen X millennial area right there. And for them, it was very normal as children to be promoted to play with guns. And Disney was one of the people that enabled that. Disney has a lot of problems. Disney's a pile of shit. Okay, so Disney wants to promote human trafficking on, women, the wenches and the men, up in the line up there for their bullshit. And then teaching kids that, like, that's some normal visual that they should see anyway to begin with. But also they promoted guns involved in that pirate thing and all that. And so all of us kids had these, like, pop guns. I remember we used to have these pop guns. And so it just starts kind of right there, this weird normalization. And then that we should shoot each other for fun. Like, there is this thing to it. And then sort of this normalization to that. And then later... it's associated with men, and then they're a clusterfuck, and then they want to go promote that and then teach their kids to be all like this. And it's like, it's not out of protection, you guys. It's not. What the hell is shooting range? I mean, it has nothing to do with protection. It's a sport of that. Okay, fine. So if you're 18 and over, that's an adult thing. But what is this culture right here with this? Like, if you go back, it's all male supremacist shit. But they associate that with manhood. So I'm just curious as to why daddy wants to turn his daughter into a son that you shouldn't actually turn your son into either. It's like the turning your son into that is also dangerous for the rest of us. But you're taking your daughter and doing things and living vicariously through the daughter. It totally was that. I was looking at it. And all the guys were cheering it on. They're all, oh, good kiddo. All the dudes. I go, yep, those are the guys that we grew up with. Like, all those type of dudes right there. And they were a nightmare. And it's like, God, I'm not surprised that all their daughters are suicidal and doing crazy crap. I'm really not. They have no emotional connection to anybody. They trash women all day online. The media trashes women. And your daughters, you think, are going to come out healthy? They're not. You're to blame, men. You're to blame. At the end of the day, even though a female did it, you're to blame. That's why I said it's so crazy, the topic. And then they want to mute us down so nobody gets educated. Use your brains. Up in here cheering on some guy shooting up a CEO. Oh my God. Use your brains. We really have to do a better job, not only in our communities, but in our country with making sure that young folks don't have access to weapons. Well, is it really about the weapons? Because somebody seems suicidal. Why is a child suicidal? I don't want to be around my daddy and nobody else anymore. I'm suicidal. I'm going to take anger, taking everybody out. Wants attention. Jesus Christ. You can't even touch this topic because you guys, your heads are so far up your asses. You want to sit there and target us all day long. You have no empathy, none whatsoever. That is a mental health issue. Firearms, and certainly making sure that we're paying attention to mental health of our children. You have not. Why are you on here calling women liars and all this shit, not listening to anybody? You do that to your own sons, and your sons become the clusterfuck of the universe. It's everybody, right? So it's a topic that it's men, dude. It's fucking men, dude. They're making everybody ill. It's so ridiculous. I was like, oh, if it's a woman, please give me the topic, because it's a hard one. But I was like, actually, it's not as hard as you think. She's just mimicking piece of shit men. It is. That's just what it is. Daddy's the one taking care of her. As a father, grandfather, and a governor, it's unthinkable that a kid or an educator might wake up and go to school one morning and never come home. You know what? You know what's unthinkable too? Is that your kids go to school and somebody rapes them. It's actually the same mindset. Like the mindset of everybody here, the mindset is the same. The person that would do that has no care for other people's agency, but they also have this just level of like miserableness, okay? It's like the same problem. It's just that people choose to do different things with it. Men go rape people. You know, that was their general thing. We're going to take over, use guns, weapons, and be violent and enslave people and rape them, including children. It's the same mindset, but this is just other stuff coming out of that bullshit right there. Ending the fall semester how it started. But again, the way they're looking at it, like the shooter for the CEO is the same as the shooter here. The guy that shot the CEO is suicidal. But he also looks like he's either manic as well, being a psychopath, or that he's just a psychopath and he's chronically like that freaky looking there. Yes, he falls in line with that. And he's garnering empathy. Perfect. That's definitely the psychopath. That is definitely the psychopath. I was like, the public is idiotic. And in no way should you be enabling that. I go, if you enable that as the most dangerous thing ever, boom, couple days later, boom. It's one of those things that this girl was already thinking about. And then it's just the more that they get this attention in the media and that this is the right thing to do. And at the end of the day, it's about that attention they're lacking at home. A lot of that thing right there. And you're glorifying them? Make it make sense. That is scary as hell. Man, and we shouldn't be glorifying government doing it either. You know, I accidentally ran across the Kent State incident, which I didn't know much about. And when I was reading it, it's actually relevant to this and that CEO thing where there was, I guess they were protesting and maybe they burned down a place or something. But anyway, the government wanted to just randomly shoot some people because they were calling them bums. And the people they shot, like a few of them, they weren't even protesters. And then nobody got busted. And then they just started chasing around the victims of it. I was like, this is the most insane story I read. And it happened before I was born. I was trying to comprehend. I could comprehend the 14-year-old in the story where it's like you're just at the wrong place. And then government's targeting the shit out of you. And it's like, what the hell? And then everybody's like up aging her, you know, from her kid age and everything like that. And then, you know, but then everybody ignores that. Government just annihilated some people for no F reason. But they were demonizing them, calling them bums. It's like, oh, aren't they still doing that? Mostly with homeless people so they can abuse them. So that is correlated to this conduct as well. There's a lot of that. And that actually should have never happened. Government's a pile of shit. You're a pile of shit. You caused this, including the serial killers. And we have the serial killer guy in the media too. They put out hate speech on women and to go target those nasty little sex workers. And then you end up with a bunch of dead women and they're fake crusading that they're sad about it. They're not sad about it, you guys. They have no soul. None. Promoted that conduct on our gender. So you do this kind of crap, you get somebody acting just like you, and you're gonna act all fake outrage. Oh please. And speaking of mental illness, if you want to say pay attention to your kids with mental illness, the parents are causing the mental illness. The parents are causing the mental illness. Do you think they're going to go take their kid in somewhere and I'm abusing my kid and causing mental illness? Yeah, no. Also, they don't know what the hell it looks like to the ones who may not be doing stuff like that, or if they are, they're ignorantly doing it. Do not know how to identify any of these mental health issues. None. I can't tell that he's a sociopath. It's like, oh, Lord, help me. I go, we could pull him out all day long. Easy. Boom. No, what are you talking about? He's so nice. I go, do you know what the hell that means? Like, there's a lot to it. And I go, they cannot tell you. And then they can't tell you the long list of the mental health issues that are caused by other people onto other people, right? That like PTSD would be caused by other people from an action or an outside event. So, other ones are slavery. Okay, so racism and slavery. Okay, they have mental health issues all the way from the past that have actually cycled into the future. And at no point can they list these things up. Yeah, some white guy is like, oh, can you tell me the mental health issues you gave, people of color that they are still suffering with today? Things like that. So then they want to go around and start rubbing their butts on everybody. I'm a rich white man and they're just jealous of me. Okay, that's a PD. That's a mental health issue right there, going on like that. A number of things. What it's related to, you would have to go to a professional to tell you which one it's related to, but you're still a socio. That's probably more likely narcissism. What else? Yeah, so they say this stuff, but what does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? We need to pay attention to mental health of our children. You're the one abusing us. I had a fucking daddy dump me with some rapist pedophiles. You're gonna tell me my dad's gonna go pay attention? He's the one that did it. And then he gave me PTSD for doing it. And I'm supposed to be protected by the state. You're not supposed to be able to do that to your kids. You're enabling it. So shut up. That's what's pissing me off. It's them. It's them all the way. All the way. They caused it. They're the enablers. They cause it. They promote it every day. And then sit there and throw that kind of shit out here. You're the one that needs a mental health issue. That you need to go to the doctor. The parents need to be arrested. They need to go to a doctor.